Welcome back to Leprechaun Anecdotes, and of course, I've got you some more strange shit you probably haven't heard of, and even if you have, I don't care, you're going to watch this video or suffer the consequences. So this one is about little-known serial killers that most people probably haven't heard of, and all I got to say is most of them are unsolved, so you better watch out. Kicking off the list at number 8, there was a serial killer who became known as the Servant Girl Annihilator. Which, first off, let me just go ahead and say that is the most badass name ever given to a serial killer. He was also known as the Austin Axe Murderer, which is much less interesting. But anyway, he preyed upon the city of Austin, Texas during the years 1884 and 1885. Though he only had 8 known victims, the murders represent an early example of a serial killer operating in the United States. And it was only 3 years before Jack the Ripper's murders took place in Whitechapel, so it led some investigators to believe that it was possible they were the same person. You thought number 8 was good. Number 7 is even better. The Cleveland Torso Murderer. He ain't just hack your head or your feet or kill your whole body. Nah, he went straight for the torso. Just kidding. But he was also known as the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run, and he was a serial killer who was active in Cleveland, Ohio during the 1930s. The killings were defined by the dismemberment of 12 known victims and the disposal of their remains in the neighborhood of Kingsbury Run. Despite an investigation of the murders, which at one time was led by famed lawman and Cleveland's then public safety director Elliot Ness, the murderer was never identified or apprehended. So you better think about that shit before you go to Ohio. And at number 6, the Hammersmith nude murders. Ugh, sounds erotic. Anyway, there was a series of murders in London, England in 1964 and 1965, and the victims were all prostitutes. Likely story. And they were found undressed, not like they weren't used to it, in or near the River Thames. So the press decided to nickname the killer Jack the Stripper, which was a nod or a reference to Jack the Ripper. 2 earlier murders committed in 1959 and 1963 have also been linked by some investigators to the same perpetrator. However, despite intense media interest and one of the biggest manhunts in Scotland Yard's history, the case is unsolved, and all forensic evidence gathered at the time is believed to have been destroyed or lost. Definitely doesn't make me think the Popo did it, because the Popo's on our side. Or are they? And at number 5, the Honolulu Strangler, aka the Honolulu Rapist. Strangler sounds better because rapist is just a little bit too provocative. But anyway, he was Hawaii's first known serial killer and responsible for the death of 5 women in Honolulu between 1985 and 1986. The killer has still not been caught, and I'm just saying that's a little bit of something to think about the next time you plan a vacation to paradise. Awkward laugh. Aloha, oi. Aloha, oi. Oh, Mama, no! And at number 4, I'm sure you guys have seen this on Facebook. It's been circulating around. People talking about putting down some bottle caps and all this shit. But this was long before Facebook ever existed. And people was dying. So, this was called the Flat Tire Murders, and it refers to 5 connected yet unsolved murders in Dade County, Florida in 1975. Investigators have theorized that the killer deflated the tires of the victims' vehicles and offered them assistance right before he killed them. It's like, hey man, need some help with that tire? Stab, 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 stab. Sorry, I kind of lost control there. This one at number 3 is very dear to my heart, and it's titled simply, The Beer Man. Beer Man was the name given to a suspected serial killer who murdered 6 people in South Mumbai, India between October 2006 and January 2007. The nickname was gained due to beer bottles being left beside each body, which was the only link between the deaths. Unfortunately, the killer was never captured or identified, and the murders were left unsolved. But I'm going to tell you right now, if he was drinking Pabst Blue Ribbon, that's what killed their ass. And at number 2, we have the Doodler. No, not that Doodler, but he was also known as the Black Doodler. He is an unidentified serial killer believed responsible for 14 murders and 3 assaults of men in the gay community. This took place in San Francisco, California between January 1974 and September of 1975. The nickname was given due to the perpetrator's habit of sketching his victims freaking weird prior to their sexual encounters and their murders by stabbing. Hey, hold on, let me draw you real quick, and then I'm gonna stab you in the face. It's believed that the perpetrator met his victims at gay nightclubs, bars, and restaurants. Now, this one, at number 1, holds the dearest to my heart. The Redhead Murders. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. The Redhead Murders are a series of unsolved homicides believed to have been committed by an unidentified serial killer. They took place in various parts of the United States, including Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia. It is believed that the killings occurred between October 1978 and the 1980s. Or the early 1980s rather, but they may have even continued until 1992. The victims, many of whom have never been identified, which is scary, usually had reddish hair and their bodies were abandoned along major highways in the United States. Authorities are unsure of how many people were responsible for these murders, if they were all performed by the same person or a group of perpetrators. It is also unknown how many victims there were, though it is believed that a total of 6 to 11 victims were involved. So the reason that number 1 is where I'm stopping at isn't just because I only do 8 and that happened to be number 1. It's because he killed all those redheaded people, you damn racist bastard. No! You keep it. Stop it. Stop it. With your shadows and your knives and your... Stop it! Stop it! Anyway, so especially considering I live near Tennessee and the guy or guys or gals or gal was never caught, it's slightly disturbing because I am redheaded and I'm seriously thinking about becoming a blonde. I was thinking about, putting some L'Oreal in this bitch. Anyway, I'm not going to keep telling you to stop. Anyway, move on. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this top 8 video, and if you did, make sure that you leave a big fat thumbs up on here, you punch it in the face. I've said that before, oh, and here we go again. Oh my god. Alright, Mr. Shadow Knife Man over here dancing in the camera. Anyway, guys, like I said, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe, turn your notification bell on, that's right, the thumbs up, make sure you hit it, and, if you don't hit it, then, you might be the next victim. I'm just kidding. Guys, please don't unsubscribe to my channel.